Okay, we're back. This is probably the most complicated card in this craft day in a box, but it's a fun one to do, and once you get the idea of it, you'll see how easy it is. So this is a freestanding pop-up card, and it does fit in regular envelope, flat, and then you pop it open. See how it pops open. And it stands up with this kind of easel thing in the middle that jumps up out and sits flat. So that's what we're going to make, and you have lots of choices for your designer paper and whatnot. The two that I chose was another of this floral print and a piece of this one that has that quadrifoil shape to it, and a little bit of the blue shimmery paper. We're going to put a couple of strips of that along the front edge because you do see that front edge when it's standing up. Okay, your last packet is the one that has the Night of Navy card base in it that does not have any scoring. It's just a piece of, just a half a sheet of cardstock. There is a piece of Sweet Sorbet that makes your pop up in the middle. And then there should be another little strip of Sweet Sorbet and a little strip of white that is for our Oh Hello sentiment. So let's do our stamping. There should also be, I hope, a piece of white for the inside and a piece of white to stamp your flowers on. And I seem to be missing that. So we will prepare that. I think it must have fallen out of my envelope. Anyway, okay, so let's do. Oh no, there's no inside. There's no inside of this card, but there should be one piece of white for stamping your flowers on. Inside of the card. It doesn't have an inside.
You do the flower first?
We'll do the flower first, and then we'll do the Oh Hello. Okay, and I'm using crushed curry as a color that is not in the paper that I'm using, but will stand out nice against it because it's so busy, the patterns in the paper, and I want something that's going to stand out. So I'll have a nice bright yellow flower. And then I'm using Night of Navy for my Oh Hello. And I'm just going to put that in the middle of my piece of white. Okay, and we'll come back to trimming that up after. We are going to fussy cut this flower out. And Christine's going to help me with that. She's here next to me. And while she fussy cuts, we're going to prepare this folding mechanism here. Okay, and you're going to need to do some scoring. So we will need trimmer or score tool or whatever of your favorite choice. And we are going to score this at a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to do my 1/2 inch on this side because that's just easier. And then I'll flip it around. So 1/2 inch was the first one.
Yeah, 2 1/8.
2 1/8.
2 5/8.
2 5/8. So 2 4/8 would be 2 1/2 inch. So one more eighth past the 1/2 inch mark.
4 1/4.
Over to 4 1/4.
5 7/8.
5 7/8 is an eighth just before the 6.
6 3/8.
6 3/8. And that is, if you have the new paper trimmer, the very edge of the white on this side, on the swing arm piece. That's your 6 3/8. If you find that too hard to find, I'll tell you where that is if you flip it around the other way and put your paper 2 1/8 from the end, that's where you're going to score that one. And I think that's the last.
Last one is 8 inches.
The last one is at 8 inches, which gives us another 1/2 inch on this end. All right. So it's symmetrical down from edge to edge. It's the same scores. And lo and behold, we have one in the middle that makes it like a regular card base. So I'm just going to do all of those up in the same direction. Basically, what we have is on each half, we have created in the middle of it that width and the 2 arms. So it's a little narrower than a regular card base because we have taken 2 1/2 inch pieces out of it to make our base so that it stands up. Okay. So all of that. Okay. Then we're going to do a little bit of cutting. So I'm going to bring back my trimmer. And I want my middle line. And I'm going to line my middle line, which is the 4 1/4. So line yourself up at the 4 1/4 on one of your ends. Get that in there. Bring your cutting blade down to the middle. Okay, now before you drop it in, either left or right, whichever direction you're going to go, you're going to move your paper just a tiny little bit. Okay, like a 1/16 of an inch. And then I'm going to drop my blade in, and I'm going to cut up to the 1 inch mark on my side blade. And I'm going to cut down to my, this is 5 1/2, so my 4 1/2 inch. So about 1 inch from the edge. Okay, make sure that that's all cut. Then, lift my blade up. I'm going to move my paper the other direction, a 1/16 of an inch. We're cutting a very tiny little strip out of the middle here to create the hole. Okay, just two little pieces, and then I'm going to take my paper snips and get in there and snip that end. Get in there and snip that end. So you're going to have a gap down the middle, and that's where this piece is going to fit. And so it's pretty exacting. If it's too tight, then you just take your paper snips and just take a little more out of one end or the other, or both. You want to make sure that that is able to slide through that hole nice and easy. All right. Then we're going to flip this over so that it all folds up like this. Yeah. I'm going to bring my two middle pieces in. And I want some tear and tape again. I'm going to put tear and tape on the 2 flaps. Like that. Push it down now. Okay. Then we're going to line up our red piece with our slot. We need to be able to see that little slot, and we're going to stick it down to this flap, to this piece here, okay? see my little slot by looking up through the edge like that. So I want to line it up, and I want to get the edge lined up with the edge of the fold. And you can pull it back just a little ways away from the fold if you're scared it's going to go over, and just make sure that it looks all square before you push it down. Okay. Then we're going to put some more tear and tape on that red piece. And we're going to stick this all together really well. Probably overdoing it with the tear and tape, but I want it to stay stuck. All right. Then I'm going to fish that up through my hole like that. And lay it flat. Then, yeah, I probably have more tear and tape than I need because that would have held this side, but hey, don't want it to come apart. Then this one's going to fold over, and I'm folding on my second joint here, and I'm going to bring it down and stick it all together like that. And then when you stand it up, you should have something that looks like this, that has a little cross piece in the middle where we stuck everything together, and it should fold up and down like that. And it should stand up. Okay, now we need to cut some designer paper. So we need 2 strips here that measure
5 1/4 and 1 3/8.
5 1/4 by 1 3/8. So let's do the 5 1/4 first. And then 1 3/8 is 1/8 just before the right edge of your paper trimmer. And another one that's 1 3/8. There we go. Those are our 2 pieces for our top here. Then we also need, out of that shiny blue,
5 1/4 by 3/8.
5 1/4 by 3/8. Yeah, so we'll go 5 1/4. And these are 3/8 instead of 1 3/8. So 1/8 before the 1/2 inch. So 3/8. They're just narrow little strips for decorating the edge. And another one that's 3/8. Get in there. Gotta curl it back so it'll lay flat. There we go. Okay. And our last piece is the piece that goes in the background here of our floral image. And I'm using that quadrifoil one. And that piece measures 3 by 4. So it's exactly half a sheet. Yep. Okay. So let's do some attaching. So we'll put some glue on the back of our 3 by 4 piece. And that one's going to attach to our red piece here, and it's actually going to go down inside the slot. So I'm just going to slide it in there like that, and then line up my top edge and make it even on either side. And then I can go like this to fold it, press it all flat so that it sticks where it's supposed to stick. And then while I've got it flat, I can put one of my, I'll try to do it this way. One blue piece on this edge. the other. And then I can do my 2 pieces of the floral pattern paper too. Or if you like, you could use the other side of it and use that blue pattern as well. That would be nice. So that one goes on there. That one goes on there. Alrighty. And then we've got our yellow flowers that we fussy cut, and we're not using any dimensionals or anything because this has to be able to go down inside that slot as well. And so I'm just tracing the outline of it with the glue. And you'll see, prop it up like this so you can see. I want to leave room for my sentiment at the top. So I'm tucking the ends down into the slot again when I glue them, and I'm leaving some room for my sentiment at the top. And again, there's lots of different ways you can fold this flat, but I find it easiest if I just poke everything down in, and then I can press it down like this. Okay, so we have that. Then we need to fix up our sentiment. So I've flagged the right hand end and I've left this end flat. So I'm just going to take my scissors, snips, and do that end flat. And then I'm going to flag this end. And then I'm going to, got glue on the end of my finger. Put some glue on here. I'm going to stick that down to one end of my piece of sorbet. It's got a very narrow little margin around it. And then do the same flag there. Like that. And this one can go up on dimensionals because the top part of the middle piece sticks out. Yep, one in the middle. There we go. Go on there like that. And the last thing is to tie a bow. And we're just going to tie the bow right around the whole thing. So we'll get some more ribbon here. And we'll just go all the way around. Whatever you think you need there to tie a bow.
Doesn't matter where.
Doesn't matter where, because it'll slide all around. We'll just make sure it's tight.
I'm not a fan of this thin ribbon. I like ribbon.
Like big, heavy, hefty ribbon. Yeah.
Well, that's a little, not heavy, hefty, but you know
Yep.
what I mean. Anyway, we can trim
Okay,
it.
and then once you open it up, you can slide your bow around to where, you know, wherever you want it to be, and then trim it off a little. There we go. So there is our freestanding pop-up card, and it does fold down and fit in a regular envelope, even though it doesn't look like it does. Well, I say it does. It did. It did. What did I do wrong with that one? Did I lie? Maybe I cut that 1/8 of an inch too long. Well, do you know what? You might have to fold the end of the envelope over to fit it, or trim it off by 1/8 of an inch. I must have mismeasured by 1/8 of an inch that piece. What did I cut them at? 1, 2, 3, 4.5, and it should have been 4 1/4.
Yeah.
Should have been 4 1/4, and just, yeah, because that will just exactly fit. Okay. Sorry about that, but it is supposed to fit in the envelope, so that's okay. You can either trim that little piece off to fit it in your regular envelope, or just when you close your envelope, just fold it over the little flap, and you'll still have enough to, yeah, put another score line in it, and it will fit. So there we are. Hope you enjoy that project. Pop them both open here for you. Thanks.